Hi, I'm Dr. Pam Peeke, the author of The Hunger Fix, the 3-stage detox and recovery program for overeating and food addiction. We're going to be talking about groundbreaking, revolutionary new science that you need to know. Yes, food addiction is real, and we have a solution.
Hi, I'm Randy Zucker with genConnect, joined by Dr. Pamela Peeke, author of the new book, The Hunger Fix, the 3-stage detox and recovery plan for overeating and food addiction. Welcome, Pam.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you for joining me today. Your background really ranges as you were an internationally known fitness expert. Your background's in neuroscience. Your background's also in stress and how it relates to weight gain. And you have this groundbreaking book, The Hunger Fix, where it actually shows that people are turned to food in a similar way that one might be addicted to, say, alcohol or nicotine or cigarettes. Can you go and explain a little bit?
Well, you know, it's interesting, Randy, when I was thinking about this, my very first book was Fight Fat After 40, and this was written about over 10 years ago when I was studying the stress-fat connection in my laboratory at the National Institutes of Health. And lo and behold, there is one. And now we can understand why it is that when you have sustained levels of what I call toxic stress, you end up packing on a few, especially deep inside the belly, and increasing your risk for disease, etc. Flash forward now. I've been thinking for a long time, just like my colleagues in science and medicine, that there was some connection between food and addiction. I could hear it from my patients. You know, they would say, I'm a chocoholic, and I need a fix, and I need a hit, and withdrawal's horrible. And it sounded like drug vernacular. And I wasn't saying it, they were. And I kept thinking, you know, there's something. And then I watched them struggle. And if they were re-exposed to a particular kind of food that was their trigger, boom, we were off and running again, just like an alcoholic having another drink. And I began to really look closely at the science and was patiently waiting for the tipping point in science. It began to mound, and thank heavens for Dr. Nora Volkow, who is the director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse. She basically dedicated so much of her research prior to becoming the director of the National Institutes of Health. She was looking closely at the relationship between food and addiction, and slowly but surely, as we got more and more tools to study this, we became much more adept at really putting the pieces together. Without the tools, we couldn't do it. Lo and behold, about 2 years ago, we finally hit the tipping point when Dr. Volkow and many other scientists in the field were able to show that through functional MRIs, which are big scans of your brain, PET scans of your brain, that there were absolutely unique changes that happened in the brains of people who felt an addiction to certain food products, food stuffs. And those changes were absolutely identical to the changes that take place in the brains of people who are cokeheads, meth heads, alcoholics, and basically anyone who's addicted. Well, that's it. And then all of a sudden it broke open the gates. And I'll tell you one thing, I got pen to paper immediately, called up my publisher and said, I am now finally ready. Because the American public, heck, everyone around, needs to understand that there is some very hardcore, credible science now that validates the relationship between food and addiction. Does it affect everyone? No. Does it affect a lot of people? Oh, yeah. And that's going to be the key here, because now this explains the struggle. It's a game changer. Because you can't just now flip a 1,200 calorie diet at some woman and say, well, you know, drop the weight and then you can get back to those cookies right afterwards. Really? I don't think so.
Right.
I think this is different.
Definitely check out the book. Visit genConnect.com, where you could learn more about Dr. Pam Peeke and The Hunger Fix, and we'd also link you to buy it. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, this was wonderful. Thank you.